Welcome to an APA crash course. Now, what I'll be doing is going over the basics of APA, so that way you can get a feeling for it for beginners. Now, in order to do all that, I'll have to define what is APA style. This style is defined by the American Psychological Association that is often used by those writing papers in the fields of psychology, education, and the social sciences. This style is used for helping to ensure consistency in formatting so others in these fields can easily access the information from these papers and reports trying to get across. This is what just to make sure that people can find stuff. So an APA paper is formatted in 4 sections: title page, abstract, the body, and reference page. Now, the title page must have a running head on it that is the title of your paper. For example, running head APA citation style. Below that, with 8 double space enters, will go the full title. Don't go overboard with the name. 1 to 2 lines at most for the title, around 12 words or less. Beneath that, type the author's name, your name, first name, middle initial, and last name. No titles or degrees. Under that goes your institutional affiliation or college's name, and this should all be double spaced with center alignment. Now, here's an example of what a title page looked like. As you can see, there is a running head up here, and then 8 double spaces down is the title of the document. Then there's the name, and there goes your institutional name. Now, an abstract should have the header running across the title of your paper, top of your paper with your title. First line is the word abstract with no bolding, italics, or underlining. Next, the abstract will be in 1 double-spaced paragraph of 150 to 250 words, summarizing what your paper will do and what the information will present, as well as any projections on its effect on works in the field. Then you should have keywords from and about your paper included in italics after the abstract. Example, keyword, APA abstract, abstract. This is to aid others in finding your work in a database. Because obviously, with so many papers, things could get lost in the mix. So here is an example abstract. You can pause and take a look at it, but it goes over what you can exactly do with an abstract for your paper. Also shows off how you put the keywords. Now, body of your paper can vary. It depends on what your body has to do for your paper. A lot of APA papers follow the MLA style for how they write their essays, which is a 5-paragraph essay, which includes your introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. But this should all be set up with double spacing and 1-inch margins. Now, here is an example page. I do a lot of faux citations with this. You can pause and take a look at it. There are a couple of errors on here because I used an older format of APA when I mocked this up a while ago and didn't realize that till I was recording this. So please excuse the extra commas after the author names. So in-text citations for APA, there are about 3 different ways you can cite an author in text in APA. All of them need to have the author's last name, the year their work was written, and the page from which you are citing your information. A form of short, direct citation could be, according to Smith, 2019. We found that a woodchuck all the wood he could chuck, followed by the page in parentheses, followed by a period. There's also Smith, 2019 found, and then there's the quote, then the page number in parentheses, followed by the period. Or you don't have to introduce the quote, you can just put the quote in and follow it with your most indirect style formatted of APA in text citation. A Smith 2019, comma, page number 123 with the period afterwards. When you use in-text citations like this for parenthetical citations, you always put the period of the sentence you're using the citation in afterwards. You can also have multiple sentences in a paragraph be directly referencing a source and just put the citation at the end. Now, long in-text citations, 40 words or more, need to be placed in an indented block without quotation marks. Half indentation for these long quotations. They need to start with the author's name, followed by the year, and end with the page or pages it was sourced from. And you have to maintain double spacing for long quotes. But word of caution when it comes to using quotations. You should never excessively quote, ever. when it comes to writing that, it doesn't count to your word count, the quote, at all. So say this were a page, this slide here, that 2-line long quotation right there would be the most I would use for direct quotations in something about this length. Now, if you have 2 more works being cited in the same paragraph, you would put the author whose name came first alphabetically in the parenthetical citation. So Doe 2018, comma, Smith 2019. Now, if there are page numbers, those will also go in there too. If authors with the same last name are being used, you'd have to differentiate by the first initial. Now, it's the only time a first name will matter for in-text citation, because otherwise you don't need the first name, you don't need the publication, you don't need the website. All you need is last name, year, and page number, with that one special case with the first initial being needed for authors with the same last name, but are 2 different authors. So, again, I repeat, for in-text citations, what you really need are last name, year, and page number. No more and no less. You have to save the other information for your reference page later. Now, there are special cases here. Oops. With 2 more authors on a work, it'd be, in this case, Doe and Smith, 2001. With 3 to 5, you'd write out all the names the first time through, and then every other time you cited them, it'd be Doe et al. And the year. And page number, obviously. Organizations are treated like people. It'd be their name, followed by the year. And if it's a long name, you would use their name the first time and then abbreviate it the next couple of times. Now, if an author wrote multiple works in the same year and you're citing them in your same paper, you would differentiate them with a letter following that year. So Smith 2002A, Smith 2002B, and then there'd be times where your source will cite another source. So say Smith cited Doe, you would write it Doe said as cited by Smith, 2018, page whatever. Now, when it comes to unknown dates, authors, and pages, the pages is easiest to deal with because you could just resort to paragraph numbers should it be a website that doesn't exactly have pages. But when it comes to unknown authors, you can use the article or page number should it be a website, a page name, sorry. And when it comes to not knowing the dates, you do n.d. So when it comes to using paragraphs instead of page numbers, you'd abbreviate paragraph para with a period. And that's a way to get around not having a page number for a website. However, word of caution when it comes to page numbers. If you print off a source, your own personal page numbers should never be used. Now, when it comes to the reference page, it's important to list where you get your information to show where it came from and to show you're not plagiarizing. It's set up somewhat similar to the works cited page of MLA. That is, authors' names are inverted, last name, first and middle initials, and they're listed alphabetically with a hanging indent, which is to say the line following has to be indented for sources that have more than one line. So as you can see, these example pages right here, Doe.J.P. here, Studies Woodland Creatures, Cryptozoology, Seriously Committed Hobbyist Monthly Journal, volume number, which you need, and page range. In the case of authors that have more than one work that you're using, you go earliest to latest. So you saw that example of Smith. I started with the 2000 example and then 2019. So articles for, as you can see, I've got examples of how you do the article with 2 authors. You do the same inversion thing as single author, but then you'd use an ampersand and put the second author's name and first initial, middle initial, and the year. But then you go to the year, title of the article, publication, volume number, page range. Books go similar. You'd have to use the location for the publisher, and websites also have their own way of doing things. There are actually a lot more sources than just this. So a better way to learn these sources in more depth would be going to websites like the Purdue OWL or the actual apa.org website to learn more. But this was just a crash course. I hope you've learned something from this.